Hello and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin from the Modern Observer Group. And with me, as always, is Chip Janiszewski from the Happiness and Success GPS. Chip, how you doing this week?
Doing great. How about you, Eric?
Doing fantastic. We're deep in the heat of summer here.
Yeah, I hear there's a new diet. If you go outside today and you stand out there for 10 minutes, you might lose a pound or two.
Absolutely. You know, as we record this, we're heading into the end of July. Country's got heat waves, storms. It's definitely summer.
Absolutely. Keeps things interesting.
Absolutely. So today we've got our special guest is Maria Grove from Bliss This House. And she is an organizer and declutterer. And we're going to talk a little bit about, how important it is to stay organized and what you can do. Maria, welcome.
Hi, Eric. Thanks so much for having me. Hi, Chip.
Hello.
It's our pleasure. So, Maria, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Maria Grove. I am the founder and head organizer for Bliss This House. It's a small business in Connecticut. We tidy, declutter, and organize your spaces. I am a follower of Marie Kondo. I am not certified in her system, so I don't offer it, but she has taught me a lot. I take from many different sources and ideas. You always find the right one for you that works in your organizing system. So what I do for the most part is something called the mountain method. And what that means is I make your house really messy before I put it all back together. So for instance, if we were working on your closet, I would have you take all of your clothes out of your closet and pile them up on your bed, because really only seeing what you have in totality will help you declutter some of the things you don't need. So the first thing is decluttering. You have to take a look at everything and make some good decisions about what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. And then only then can you organize. If a lot of people have the problem that they say, oh, my house isn't big enough. No, clutter is kind of like gas. It expands to fit the space. And so what you need to do is get rid of some of your clutter before you can truly organize.
Excellent.
Yeah,
and I know.
Sounds like fun. I mean, that's
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's fun. I mean, I'm very strange. I think it's wonderfully fun.
Yeah, I think if I want to, not become friends with somebody, I'm going to go to their house and just take everything out and stuff. But no, that's definitely a great way to do things. I mean, obviously, the longer that you lived in your house, and we lived in our house since '86 and done a couple of things since then, forcing us to do this. And it's amazing what you pile together. And obviously, one of the benefits of this is I'm sure that you help them set aside a lot of things that they can donate for good causes too.
Absolutely. A lot of my clients, after we declutter, one of my biggest services is letting them know where they can donate things. I was just working with a client this weekend who is downsizing their home, and they have already earmarked all these things that they want to sell, donate. So part of my service is that I can tell you that the Salvation Army is open right now and accepting donations, but they don't really take bedding. So if you want to donate your bedding and your old towels, a really great place is a pet shelter. They're always looking for things like that. So little tips like that I can give to my clients.
Do you have those resources online?
I'm in the process of launching my website. It will be done by mid-August. So you heard it here first. I will be blissthishousect.com. And so look for me very soon on the interwebs. But right now I'm on Facebook, and I'm at Bliss This House CT on Facebook. And that's where you can get my tips, some photographs before and after, and then you can also book me that way.
Excellent. So my own case, clutter tends to come because I keep telling, you know what? I might need this someday. How do you get people over that mindset?
Yeah, that's a tough one. A lot of people see the value in things either because they had them for a long time and they keep them for sentimental reasons. Like this is the first toaster my husband and I got together when we moved in together. Or they say, I don't want to get rid of this toaster because someday I might need it. Right now I'm not eating carbs, but someday I'll have toast again. And they'll keep that toaster. Um, I think one of the things that I do in the kitchen, especially, is I make sure that my clients embrace a clean slate on their cabinet, on their countertops. And what that means is if you don't use an appliance every day, put it underneath in a cabinet. And that way your countertops are clean. And that's a tidying tip. You can rest your eye on your countertops. It's not busy, it's not overwhelming. And then if you'll notice if you're really having trouble getting rid of something like say a toaster, you can say, "Gosh, I haven't pulled that out since Maria was there working with me and that was 6 months ago. Maybe it is time to get rid of this toaster." So I would never make anybody get rid of something that they're not comfortable with. My job is not to live every life as a minimalist life. I want people to keep their stuff. I love my stuff. But I just want people to have a sense of joy in their things and know that they can display the things that truly matter to them and not get so lost in all of the clutter that the other stuff brings to your house.
Nice. So you mentioned that you use this mountain technique.
Yes.
When people pull these things out, how I mean, is this something that they can do with them fairly quickly? Is it something that they take time with?
Yeah, when I do the mountain technique, when I come in, really it's an opportunity for me to walk around the house and get a sense of where we are with everything. Look at the situation, look at the items that might need to be addressed, and then we'll tackle a zone. And so if we've decided to tackle the closet, I'll stay there for a few hours and we'll take everything out and I'll start training you on picking up an item, figuring out if you want to keep it or not. And then as your ability to make decisions gets better and gets more honed, then I know it's okay for me to leave and you can finish up your homework after I go. I don't do the bulk of everything. It's really a homeowner's responsibility to do the work. I'm just there to get them started, to give them tips, to help them get started and get going on the project. And something like a closet, when you take everything out and then you put everything back in, that can take about 2 hours usually. It goes a lot faster than you would imagine. Sometimes, clients have a lot of things and it takes an hour just to get everything on the bed. But really, you can go through this pretty quickly, especially if you're good at making decisions. If you're a decisive type of person and you say, yes, I love that top, that works on me, that's the color that I like, that's the thing that makes me look thin, I'm keeping that top. No, I don't like that jacket, it always makes me feel hot in meetings. Those are really easy options, and you once you start making decisions, it does go much faster.
Okay.
And
As you're working with people, I would imagine that you take a look at the way things are set up and kind of coach them through maybe rearranging things a little bit so that things get stored better too. I mean, you mentioned that I think decor is part of what you do, and I kind of surmise that as being organizing, not only just getting rid of stuff that you need to get rid of, but where you're going to put everything once you're done.
Absolutely. Yep, that's part of my service. I love styling tabletops, coffee tables, and I also love doing bookshelves. And so I will tell you a little bit about a bookshelf. So once you take all the books off and you decide which ones you want to keep and which ones you want to donate, and there's lots of places to donate books, I can always help you with that. We put everything back. And there are lots of different methods that people use to store their books. Sometimes it's about topic, sometimes it's by author. I'm really wild and I put everything in color coded order. So I like my red books and my yellow books and my green books. I'm a little bit of an outlier. But I offer, however they feel comfortable. If it's by author, we'll go through it and we'll put it together. One tip that I can give you about a bookcase is that when you put all your books back, a lot of people tend to push them towards the back of the shelf, and then there's this space in front of the books. I like to keep them right up at the top of the shelf, right at the edge of the shelf, like a library does it. It helps you to prevent putting little knickknacks in front of the books and start recluttering your bookcases. Bookcases just should be for books or games or movies or whatever. But if you put them right at the edge, it looks like a library and it's more pleasing to the eye. So you've got this organization, but it's also tidy. It's clean and it lets your eye rest. You can say, wow, those books are all really in a great way organized. One thing that I will say about books in particular, I've had the pleasure of working with some clients who have gone through their books and started getting rid of their books. And what's really fun is to see them rediscover things that they didn't remember that they had an interest in. And so they have all these books, they become blind to the books because there's so many. But when they start culling out the books, like, say the old college textbooks or the business books that they read once and they don't need any more or whatever. I actually had a client who remembered through going through this process how much they loved English literature and how much they had studied during college and how much they had enjoyed it. And they had just lost sight of all of these books and how special they were to them. And so she actually just reached out to me the other day and she said she's considering going back to college and getting a degree to teach English literature. Well, because we went through their books. She had just forgotten her interests. And because when we tidied and decluttered and then organized her books, she remembered who she was.
That's a fantastic point, because when you're disorganized and you just have everything cluttered, you don't really remember everything that you have. And rediscovering certain things, that can be a fantastic feeling.
Oh, absolutely. A hobby that you used to have, like you uncover your violin that you haven't played in 3 years, and you just, when you have so much clutter in your house, you become blind to the things that really make you happy. You just see the clutter.
Do you work with photographs and things like that? Obviously, that's a big thing these days. As far as you have the old photographs, but now you have digital technology and so on, and also businesses. Obviously, businesses need a lot of organizing too. Do you work with them too, or do you just work with homes?
So I do commercial. My plan is to actually get certified in OSHA regulations. So that would be another offering to clients, especially commercial clients, so that I can go in and say, oh, you can't have that bookcase there, but here's where I can help you put it in a better spot, for OSHA regulations. That's something that a couple of my commercial clients have expressed an interest in. So that's something that I'm going to be looking into. So I do offer that. And I would be happy to work with more commercial businesses. I would love to get my hands on people's desks and help them organize better and, so make the flow of the work a little bit easier. That's something that I am working on. But you also asked about photographs, and that's really interesting. I was at my mother-in-law's house for July 4th weekend, and she has been very supportive of my launching this business, and she was saying, I have all these photographs of your children. My husband's an only child. My children are her only grandchildren. And she just obviously, as a proud grandmother, has tons of photographs. And she says, I don't really want to put the baby photos out anymore because as they grow and they're teenagers now, I want a more recent photograph so when people come over, they can see how the kids are looking these days. But I don't want to get rid of the photos. That seems like a bad plan. So we came up with an idea that we got plastic photo boxes and we labeled them each for each family member. And she also has a number of old photographs of my husband, and they were all mixed together. And so what we did was we spent a day just sitting on the floor organizing all of the different photos into each photo box. And that way, when she wants to reminisce about one of my children, she can pull out the box and she can look at all of the photographs and that kind of thing. And then what's wonderful about it is that she has this process. She can, as the photos keep coming, she can put them in the boxes, and then at some point she can give them to the children and say, these are all the photos I've collected of you over your lifetime. Here's your box. So that was one suggestion that we had for photos, and that seemed to work from my mother-in-law.
Wow. I'm the oldest of 7 children. I should talk to my mom about that. I'm just kidding. She's 89, but it's we have a lot of photos.
Yeah, it's something that you and your wife can do
Yeah.
for children. You know, another thing that I was working with this client who's downsizing, and she was telling me that she has all these art projects from her children over the years, and she doesn't want to get rid of them, but she can't imagine hauling them to a new house. And so I told her about a service. It's called Archived. It's ARTKIVE, and it's a website that you order a box, and when the box comes, you put in all of your child's artwork that you want to save, and then you send it to this company, and then this company scans it and makes a book out of it, like a really nice Shutterfly kind of photo book, but of all of your children's artwork over the years. And I was telling her about this, and I was saying, you know, this seems like a really good idea for you. Your kids are at the age where they're not like bringing home art every night, so you know, you could do it now. And then I said, you know, it's such a good idea. I was talking to my husband about it. We decided to do it over the weekend, even, you know, because I had reminded myself of what a good service it was. So I've decided I purchased a box, and that'll be coming, and I'll be organizing my children's art through the years. And so they'll have a book full of their artwork over the years, and then someday it'll be theirs if they want it, but really it's just a wonderful keepsake, and it cuts down on the clutter.
That's fantastic. I didn't know about that service. That's great.
There's all sorts of wonderful
So,
services like that out there.
Yeah, I know
so
there's
obvious.
too.
So obviously, we've been in a difficult time. Assuming you haven't been able to go into people's homes to help them declutter over the few months, how have you been working with them?
Well, I've done a little bit of virtual decluttering where my client and I will get on a Zoom call, and they'll show me their kitchen, and we'll talk about tips, and then kind of I'll walk them through certain processes, and then by, you know, a week later, we'll get back on the Zoom call and they can show me their progress and ask any questions that they might have. So that's something that's fairly standard in the industry right now is these Zoom calls and this virtual helping. I am actually looking forward to getting back into more people's houses and helping them, because you know, the joke is with the pandemic, was it even a pandemic if you didn't redo your closet? I mean, everybody redid their closet during the pandemic, is because you were home, and you said, yeah, I'm gonna refold these shirts, or I'm gonna go through my closet. So many people told me that that's what they were doing during the pandemic. People were at home and they were noticing their things more, and so there's definitely been an increase in interest in all of this since the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Sure.
I mean, Zoom is a wonderful tool, you know, for education and everything else. I mean, Eric and I both do consulting, and even though I had Zoom for years, I never used it until now. But I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I mean, you've given us a lot of good information today. I'm wondering if you ever consider putting together like maybe a seminar that you could invite your networking friends to on Zoom to send these tips off to, and obviously it might be a good way to get business too. I'm just thinking out
Oh,
loud because I'm looking to do
yeah,
that myself for my
that's a
business.
wonderful idea, Chip. I really appreciate that. I don't know if I would be comfortable doing that yet, as putting myself out there as the industry expert. I would be a little bit more hesitant than that, but that's something to think about in the future, definitely.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of doing something fun, you know, while you're home. I'm not an expert type thing or whatever. However, these are some tips that you may want to use while you're doing this. And you know, things you talked about like the mount method and other things. There's some really neat things that you talked about that people could do really a la carte as projects.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And let
And my hope is when I launch my website, I will also have the blog capacity. And so my goal is to, with each blog, kind of put out a challenge for my readers. And so they can pick, each week or each month, pick a place in their home and then deal with the clutter there. And I'll be giving tips specifically for that piece. So you can follow me and you can follow my blog and then be able to do those pieces along with me as I give you the tips.
Fantastic. I look forward to seeing your blog.
Oh, thank you.
So,
And all the messy
where do you
pictures of my own home.
Well, we've all spent so much time in the house over the past several months. Either you've already started decluttering or you're looking at everything going, I really need to declutter. So those
That's
tips and
true.
tricks that you offer will be fantastic.
Yes.
So now you're launching your website. Where do you see your business going? What are you moving into next?
Well, I have my LLC, so I'm officially registered with the state, which is very exciting. Have my insurance, everything that a small business needs. I'm a solopreneur, which is a term that I learned recently. So I think my goal is to grow the business, and then eventually, what I'd really love to see is having a thriving business, so much so that I can come in with some employees. I would like to expand and have some subcontractors working for me, doing some of the projects. Having so much work that I can't all do it myself. That's my goal, of course.
Nice. We jumped right into the meat of what you do, but we sort of skipped over the beginning. How did you get involved in this? How did you get interested in organizing and decluttering?
Oh, well, I come from a very funny story. I guess it's not that funny, but I'm an odd duck. I have a master's degree in anti-terrorism. Um, I
I
worked
didn't even
full.
know that was a master's degree.
Yes, I have a master's in it. My undergrad is in anti-terrorism as well. Um, I really saw myself earlier in my life in the FBI or the CIA. That was the track that I was on. And when that didn't quite work out, I started working in nonprofits. And I've worked in a number of nonprofits for a number of years. I work in one now full time that has nothing to do with organizing. And it was really this pandemic. I started walking my dog all the time. My poor puppy got lots and lots of walks because I was just anxious to get out of the house. And I started listening to podcasts more regularly. And I was drawn to some organizing podcasts, but really entrepreneurial podcasts. And they really gave me a lot of confidence to launch my own business finally. It was something that I've been thinking about for years. I've been doing organizing for my friends for many years. They'll call me up and pay me with a bottle of wine, and I'll come and work for a few hours and help them organize their homes. And people have said to me a number of times, when are you going to launch your business? When are you going to launch your business? And it really wasn't until I got the confidence through learning about how best to be an entrepreneur that I took the leap.
Well, we're glad that you
That's
did. Eric and I talk a lot about personal development and finding your purpose and passion and putting that into what you're doing professionally. Because if not, all you're doing is just punching the clock and getting a paycheck. But it's so neat that you are starting to work your purpose and your passion, because you sound like you're very, very good at it, and I think you're going to do very well with it. So
Oh, well,
congratulations.
thank you. Thank you very much.
and I love that you majored in anti-terrorism. I can't think of a better example to show people that, even though you took something in school, doesn't necessarily preclude you going off in a completely other direction if that's what your passion is. If that, and you can
Yeah.
find your passion later, not just in college.
Absolutely. We tell my daughter who's about to head to college herself, we tell her all the time, pick a major, find something that you want to do, but don't get so worried and wrapped up in making it a career. you will probably have 5 careers in your life if you're lucky. You get to reinvent yourself as many times as you want. It is never too late to get a master's. I got my master's 3 years ago. And so at the time when my kids were taking the SATs, I was taking my final placement exam. So and finishing up my thesis, and mommy's reading her terrorism books, at the bus stop. And but that's how you reintroduce yourself every couple of years. You just try to figure it out, and you make sure that you're passionate about what you're doing. And I that's exactly what Chip said. Don't just punch the clock. Really make an effort to find what you love in life.
And you're certainly doing that.
Yes. And I'm very lucky that what I love to do also seems to be a viable business. My husband's been very supportive of me doing this business, launching this company. And it's one of my less harebrained ideas. So I'm glad to get it started.
Yeah, I think when you get out there and you start doing talks and so on and so forth, I think the anti-terrorism degree is something to play on, because Eric and I never heard of it before, but you got to come up with something like, there's got to be some type of a connection between having an anti-terrorism degree and applying it to anti-clutter. Are any of you terrified about going into like
I love it.
Yeah, as a business owner, you're always asked, well, what sets you apart? What sets your business apart? Certainly having a degree in anti-terrorism, that's a unique selling point right there.
Yeah, I as I was saying, I listen to a lot of those podcasts, and one is about an organizer, and she has a master's degree in electrical engineering. And she worked in the business field for a number of years as an electrical engineer, and she just said, this is not what's sparking my joy and lighting my flame, and decided to start her own business as an organizer. And it was when I heard that I was like, wow, I too have a master's degree in something a little different, and certainly not in organizing, that's not available. So that was something that sets me apart in the business world. But I will say that there are, I do belong to the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Specialists, and I am working towards my certification as a professional organizer. So I've started taking the classes to get certified, because I do think in any business, credentials are important. You really want the person who's done the work. So that is my goal.
That's great advice. And we're actually coming up on the end of our time here. So if people want to engage your services, how can they get a hold of you?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Bliss This House CT, and I will be launching my website, as I said, in August, and that will be blissthishousect.com. See, that's my nonprofit experience coming through. I was going to say org. So it's .com, and I would love to hear from people. I'm based in Connecticut, but I could do virtual organizing anywhere. So, it's a brave new world.
Fantastic. Chip, what do you think the big takeaway for this week is?
Yeah, I think the timing is perfect. Obviously, the services are perfect. I mean, I've known the field for quite a long time, but the bottom line is, we're kind of getting into the quote unquote new normal, and part of it is looking at what's your house looks like in your business and so on and so forth. So the timing for you is perfect, and just make it interesting, which you're already doing. Get out there and network with us, and good luck. Congrats.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Chip.
I think for me, it's two big takeaways. Number one is just the importance of being organized and all the advantages that comes with that. But I think the second big takeaway from this has been, it's never too late to pivot and take advantage of a new opportunity, as Maria has obviously shown us. So thank you so much for being with us. We're so glad you could come. You've been listening to the Success Showcase. You can catch us every week at xvadio.com/podcast. You can also find us on the Apple Podcasts app, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you find podcasts. Remember, make this your best week ever, and make next week even better. See you then.